Give me a quick 20 minutes and I'm going to show you exactly how we made millions of dollars through our digital marketing agencies and other digital businesses through the use of cold calling, how to actually do it right.
Do you know his schedule by chance? I just want to get a meeting with him.
Our schedule is currently for the rest of the week at least.
To not only get people to begin and continue the conversation, but also how to literally close them right there on the spot. We go through our tips, our strategies, everything step by step for how myself and my business partner both launched our multi-seven-figure marketing agencies through the use of cold calling. If that's something, a skill that you think you could use, then this is for you. Give me 20 minutes and let's dive in. Today, guys, we are talking about a way that myself and Mr. Rahul has made a shit ton of money when we first started our agencies. Is it the thing that we all want to do? No, but is it a way to move the needle in the beginning fast and hard to get to the point where we have the experience we need to have? Yes, it is. And that thing is called cold calling. Okay, it's the thing that we can do sometimes to make that happen. And Rahul has done a lot of it. I've done a lot of it. Back in 2012, when I first started my marketing agency, the way that I got my first clients was two ways. A, I wandered around my neighborhood aimlessly knocking on doors like an idiot. And B, I opened up this really old book that had only just started to be on the internet in a very annoying way, the Yellow Pages. I don't know if they still do this or not anymore, but they used to have the most annoying sales team in the entire universe. These people. But if you ever want to learn how to get cold call, just pick up a phone call that comes from the Yellow Pages and they'll hit you over and over and over again. But that was how I did it. Stumbled my way into having a few local cafes and restaurants. And then I stumbled my way through the Yellow Pages into working with a bunch of realtors. And that gave me the basis to be able to progress and move forward. So not to say the rest of the last 14 years have been based just on that solely, but it did help a lot. Did I like doing it? No. But did it move the needle? Yes. And so for me, cold calling came down to a few things. First of all, and the most important thing was just doing it, just going and doing it. Because guess what, guys, the first few cold calls that you do, you're probably not going to make a sale, but you're going to get past that thing in your head, that mental block in your head that screams at you that it's uncomfortable, screams at you to not do the thing, makes you not want to freaking call strangers and get told off because they don't know who you are or why you're calling them or what's going on. And a wonderful thing happens once you just do the damn thing. You start to realize it doesn't matter. These are people you don't know. These are people you were never going to talk to before. These are people you're probably never going to talk to again. And guess what? Now they don't like you, but they'll forget about you in 20 minutes because they're on to whatever they were giving a shit about that day. And the math in my head for doing cold outreach has always been if I call or message or DM or email 10 people and 8 of those people tell me to fuck off, but 2 of them say hello and continue the conversation, what am I left with? I'm left with 2 conversations potentially that could turn into business that I never would have had ever in a million years, and 8 strangers who don't want to talk to me any more than they used to want to talk to me 10 minutes ago. And that's it. And being able to progress through that mindset to get that first step through it is really what helps you. It's just to do the thing. The second most important thing is to show up to places like this and ask questions to people like Rahul, who's about to go through some stuff with you today. But what the hell should I even say? What should I do? Do I announce myself as the digital marketer of the stars and tell them that I'm going to help them do a million things? Probably not. But do I need to be able to A, create a conversation, B, maintain a conversation, and then C, transition that conversation quickly into the next setup? Yes. Now, from my perspective, the tips that I have for you guys is to always break cold outreach, whether that's through messaging, whether that's through calls, into those 3 segments, and track yourself to see where your bottlenecks are. So what that means is if I'm looking at this in 3 segments, A is the opener. Are people hanging up on me right away? Are people even giving me a chance to do anything else? Do people immediately tell me to fuck off? All of those things. Or am I getting them to actually listen for a second and transition to the next phase? If not, you're not going to get much further. If you're transitioning them into the middle part, but in the middle part, they're ghosting, or halfway through your pitch, they're saying, I got to go, or they're being like, I can't continue this conversation, even if they seemed a little interested in the first place, then the middle part is your bottleneck. If you're getting through a whole 10-minute conversation, but at the end of it, they're like, I'm not really interested in talking to you further, then it's your close. It's your transition. And having the information in your head and being able to track stuff to tell you, okay, which one of those sections is it that I am failing at is what allows you to come and get better training. Go look up better stuff for how to fix that and to progress forward. The other tips I have for people is don't try and make the sale on the cold call. You are far less likely to transition a total stranger who doesn't know who the hell you are to spending thousands of dollars with you right there on the spot immediately than you are to get a couple of pieces of information for them, get them slightly interested in hearing more, and booking an actual sales call, an actual demo later. That's why normally the position that goes in bigger companies for cold calling, they are the appointment setters. They are the ones who are trying to transition people over to talking to the actual sales reps, because you'll usually have a much better time with that. We're trying to create quick, frictionless interest that moves over to a sales team. In this case, you are both the setter and the salesperson, but you need to adapt different mindsets towards the different pieces of the conversation or the customer journey that you're going into. When it comes to cold calling, the mindset here should be, is this the right person that I'm talking to? Can I get them even at all interested in what I have to offer? And can I transition this to another conversation that has a more dedicated space for us to talk about it, as opposed to interrupting whatever they're doing? You might be interrupting their kid's ball game. You might be interrupting their TV show they're trying to watch. You might be interrupting other important shit they're doing during their workday. And you need to quickly try and move this next conversation over to a headspace that's more conducive to them understanding what you're saying, being able to really sit there and actually make a sale. But those are my main tips, guys, and for understanding A, leveraging some of this other stuff and understand where your bottlenecks are, but B, the headspace and the mindset you got to have going into cold calling. And anything else, 10,000 reps makes you an expert, right? So if you make a couple of calls and the first guy tells you to F off and you don't make the sale and you quit, you can't be expecting yourself to have ever been able to make money that way. You can't be expecting that to be the thing. We got to hit the phones. We got to lean into the uncomfortable thing. And with all of that being said, I'm going to transition over to Mr. Rahul, who's probably done way more of this than me even, so he can kind of give you his tips and stuff.
Yesterday, just in preparation for this topic, I just made a cold call, because like cold calling for me is foot in the doors, building relationships, giving the prospect a taste so they can do a transaction with me. And my goal I'm not trying to sell like $1 million software solution to solve every single problem, because I think my offer is so good that everybody should buy it. I'm just trying to get them open-minded to know who I am, like who I am, get a vibe of my personality, and then go for the foot in the door offer so I can move things up. And I'll give you examples of how I kind of think and operate after trying to sell the whole enchilada and drop it down their throats on cold calls, to transitioning backwards and saying, I just need to get my foot in the door, get a relationship started, establish the trust, and be really good at following up and thinking longer term than shorter term. Because the first level entrepreneur in me is I want to get rich quick. Then that didn't work because I wasn't selling very effectively that way. And then I started becoming a little bit more patient, saying if I can just get this person to trust me, let them buy something smaller from me, maintain that relationship, get real look in the mirror feedback loops that I have a good product, then I can now grow that lifetime revenue per client. Because at first I was thinking, hey, volume, because that's the background I came from. I used to work on a sales floor for Realtor.com. Our quotas helped me transition into entrepreneurship because we had to hit 100 outbound dials per day, $2,000-ish in cash collected a day, 30,000 plus monthly sales per month, and 4 hours phone time per day clocked and tracked through their software. So we always had those metrics right in front of our face. And if we never hit our quota, for 3 months straight, we were under 80% to quota. We got shit canned. And that means fired. And if you didn't hit your quota 3 months in a row, under 80% to quota, but you did everything you could, and management saw that you were learning and training and whatnot, and you hit your 4 hours phone time, you didn't play ping pong, you didn't take long bathroom breaks and long lunch breaks and shit like that, you were self-disciplined, they would give you like that effort leash, if you will, to last a little bit longer. So the reason I'm telling you working for somebody else is because when I started working for me, I had to be on time. I couldn't be late. If I was 1 minute late, they'd lock me out of the building. I was wearing a suit and tie sitting at a cubicle with no guests, no clients coming in whatsoever. So it fucking sucked. And I don't like wearing suits and ties. I like wearing hats and hoodies. So I took that discipline thinking, when I'm doing my own business, why would I even think of working harder for them than I would for me? So when I'm on the lonely island of entrepreneurship, I have to make up my own offer. I have to make up my own delivery system. I have to find my own list. I have to do everything myself. I have to turn the internet on, get my own phone lines, etc., computers, all that shit. Microsoft Office even. We're past that now. So now we have all the tools. The number one thing is I had to know my audience. I don't sell to anybody. So the natural transition for me was a very hard one because I was dealing with real estate agents. So anything I'm going to say will work a lot better in any other industry because realtors are tough. I knew they spend a lot of money on these boutique websites. So I had to come up with what's the pain point? What's the problem? Are they spending money? Will I be able to leverage quick turnaround times and sales cycles with a foot in the door, low cost, high value? That's how my mind was always operating, is how quick can I get to the transaction, to the trust, to the long-term relationship. So I'll go over an example for everything here. So I mean, basically, like, actually, it's going to be the same example in today's world. I'll give you my example so you can get a little creative, but I'm going to make it around a SaaS Go High Level offer for this. And if you guys use HubSpot, you can use the same kind of reference points, etc. So Realtor.com, there's a lot of agents that spend a ton of money on their website. The way I would identify is I'd understand their product suite, even though I work there. If I didn't work there, then I'd understand it by asking the sales reps, what is the most expensive products? What do people like the most? So I would do a little bit of market research. And because I had the pleasure of working there, I had some additional insights. So I had a step ahead. Had I not, because then I went to other websites like ESPN and random websites where it had my clients, and like Geico and what was it, Homes.com, Trulia.com, Zillow, Realty Track. And then I started finding more and more real estate based websites before I went broad. I saw that people spend a shit ton of money on those banner ads, those displays, those blinking things. And I'm like, if that ad was better, that 20 grand or 30 grand of what they're spending money on could get more clicks, could be more monetizable. So that's where I was using my pitch. I'm like, all right, you have an ad, you spend a lot of money. If you spend a little bit on the creative, you can get more out of your budget. So that's how I crafted the pitch. It was a little pain and pleasure. And the pain was, hey, you're spending all this money and you're not going to get the results that you could, or you can spend a couple $100 more. I'll create the best ad this planet's ever seen for your offer, and then we'll relaunch it and you'll see the clicks improve. And then you can start to monetize it versus call it a tax write-off. Will that even make sense? Yes, it would. Cool. It's just $250. Let me get your credit card. What's going to happen is this. The question comes up, do you love it? Do you not love it? We have unlimited revisions. So no matter what, you're going to get exactly what you want. Most oftentimes we have one revision and then we're live. Cool. Yes. So my risk reversal was not, if you don't like it, get your money back. My risk reversal was, we'll just revise it till you like it. And that's our unlimited revision policy. Now, were there certain outliers that wanted 19 revisions? Yeah, we had them. There was somebody out in New Jersey, I still remember to this day. Chick was crazy. But for the most part, everybody else was one and done, meaning we could write their copy, design their ads, get them the actual thing they liked the most, all in one shot, zero revisions. Our profit margins were high. Now, people got unlimited, but that's why I was able to close, is that you have no risk. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet until you hit approve. The next level of my ascension model behind that was selling banner ads. Then I would sell them a landing page. Now that you're getting the traffic and you're getting the leads, now we got another problem. The conversion rate's low. You want to do something about that too, because now you can use not only my graphics, not only my landing page, you have ownership of it, meaning you can take my one-time fee, use it forever, as long as you want. And then I would give them innovative ideas on how to contrast what I was selling, that it wasn't locked in just to their ad platform. It was like, hey, you can use this as your website. You can use it on your Facebook. You can use it on your email signatures. You can use it on newsletters, on press releases. If you wanted to say, hey, I'm a featured agent and I'm the best at new home buyers. Now you can use my graphics everywhere without me charging you a licensing fee. So you don't have to pay every time you're using it. You can actually have 100% rights to it. And I do too, to use in my portfolio. Is that fair? So that's my way of contrasting even further, that you're getting all this added value and I have to put it in their head because they've heard it before. They just didn't hear it from me. Because if I'm charging them whatever, $1,000 for this suite and this package one time, I want them to know that these are all the many uses. And guess what? You don't have to pay me every time you want to upload it. You don't have to pay me the 300, 500, 700, 1,000 every single time. You can use unlimited usages. So I'm just opening their mind of full potential. So those are little nuances and details that I would include. And as I can extract or improve value from, like, how much more money you can make, how many more times you can use it, and also how much money you can save. Now I had the whole trifecta of somebody buying from me. I have the urgency, I have the trust, I have the scarcity. I also have the risk reversal in the form of you can revise it till you love it. Okay, so now all of this stuff, like now I'm writing, I've written stuff down before this. Let me just mute somebody out that I'm getting a little feedback from. Okay, there we go. So the way I was tracking things, and when Cody said like we don't love cold calling, we have to change that mindset a little bit, because if it's the only conduit to getting market research out, getting our next sale, getting our clients, and also quite frankly, it's the fastest way. We got Google, we got Yelp, we got so many review sites. Your market's already listed. All the lists that people are business brokering or buying are all free on the internet. You don't have to buy the list and try to cold email. You could do that. It's a really good way to do things. I'm just a big fan of getting on the front line, because I want a product improve. Because if you sell by phone or in person or through Zoom or something, we have to get that, what is it, a starving crowd. We got to create our starving crowd, and then we're the hot dog stand. Because if they're hungry for if we can make them hungry for what we got, we can sell it to them. So that's why I thought cold calling was such a good starting point. And I don't do it as much anymore, but I don't care if I do it. If somebody wants me to call a liquor store to a restaurant, I could just give them a call, because I have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And all I have to do is just find my rhythm and my angle to get their ear, take the threat of buying off, give them a demo, walk them through the demo. Then once I get time on Zoom, I just have to have a price point that makes sense for me, for that market, their ability to spend. And then I have to wrap that around how much time do I have to spend for sales calls? Because the lower the price, the higher the value that I'm putting out there. I want to keep the shortened sales cycle. If it's a bigger price point, like $1,500, $2,000 per month, or even one-time fees of that, it might take me half an hour, an hour. So I'm going to learn the rhythm of my sales efficiency over time. So the goal of the cold call is, first, we want to get market research, because like Cody mentioned, if we're getting a bunch of hangups, that's good feedback, because the market has spoken. Now, if we have a gatekeeper in the way, there's a little bit different of an angle. But if we're going straight to decision makers like plumbers, HVACs, et cetera, that don't have that medical facility type vibes, or it's like receptionist to decision maker, it's a lot quicker to get our market research. So my goals have always been in cold call research, so I can refine. Refinement is the second stage, and then I have to increase my close ratio. In order to do that, like I mentioned before, when I worked for somebody, I worked really, really hard. I always wanted to be a pristine worker. I didn't ever suck off to the boss. I wanted my work to do my talking. So I just sat in the cubicle, sat in my corner, didn't make friends, made calls. And then once I started closing, I started having fun. So all that blood, sweat, tears of the game of learning finally found its pinnacle. And then I became efficient on the phone. So I did have a learning curve where I wasn't very good, but I did track things. I had the technology to track it and tell me, hey, here's where you're at. So I can kind of always be ahead of myself. I like to get ahead so I can fuck around a little bit and get breathing room towards the end of the month and start to position my next month ahead for my sales pipeline. That was just how I like to do things, is so I don't have to like feel like I'm behind it every time. So it was the opposite of college for me. I waited in college. You either wait to the last minute to do the work. In business and life, you want to try to get in front of it as much as possible. So on this little piece of paper, without having like, if you guys don't have like a way to track how many dollars you're doing that automatically spits it out easily for you, then just have a piece of paper and the top thing says calls. And then every time I make a call, I just have to put a little mark next to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. So just like the old school way that we used to track things, right? And then once I make contacts, then I'd go, okay, I made 1 contact. So that's good. Then I can see my contact to call ratio, who's answering the phone and connecting with me, who is interested in a follow-up. I put a little 1, and then I just have to track who that is. So I put it and move it forward in my calendar, and then closes. I put another number 1. So now I can see I made 80 calls. I made 15 contacts. 4 people want to follow up, and then 2 people closed. Then I can do my math. I look at that at the end of the week. Now I know my ratios, given enough data, and I just have to go all out on those calls. Now I time block, because it is energy sucking. So you have to do time blocks. And I try to do it, if you're new, block out an hour at a time, and then maybe 15, 20 minutes to do administrative work, to walk around the blocks and push-ups, whatever, to get you ready for your next hour. And then just keep doing that, because the number one thing is have a dope offer. It's your foot in the door, be able to track who you're calling and follow up. That's kind of the criteria on the front end. And we got to have fun doing it, because again, you got nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, and so do the clients you're talking to. So we're going to change the terminology of what a cold call means for right now. Is that cool with you? Because it's more like how you think about things versus anything else, because it's really like, I don't want to go to the fucking gym. but I'm going to go anyways because it's going to take my time. It's going to be painful. It's going to suck. But then after it, I'm going to be like, damn, I feel so good. My money that I'm making, my energy I'm working is really good. I feel better. I look better. My nutrition gets better, etc. So I do things that I don't necessarily like to do, and then I fall in love with the process. Now, the thing I want to do is I want to like with this Go High Level in SaaS, I like doing two types of sales personally. One is direct to sale, meaning I sell directly to the end prospect, and that's when I need to have a niche. If I have no niche, let me know if you guys have no niche in the chat, and then I mean we can angle something. I don't necessarily agree with that particularly, but because then delivery doesn't become repeatable over time. But when you have a niche, we just compile the list and we start crafting our offer, and then we test our openers. But then some of you guys, the second thing is that was direct to business owner. Then I go an angle around where who has a compilation of business owners. In my case, when I was doing the real estate cold calling myself to realtors, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't care if I spent whatever 8-9 hours calling and then all night trying to prospect and email and stuff like that. Because I had my end goal, which is being successful. I just wanted to make some money, so I didn't have to go back to a job. That was my first goal. The second thing is, as I was going through that process, the sales reps started to refer me business. So I'm like, okay, cool. Instead of me closing, now that guy just referred me somebody, and he did the referral, which was already like pretty much I just had to order take. I'm like, oh fuck, that was cool. Normally I have to cold call, introduce myself, figure it out. They're like, why are you calling me? Why are you clicking on my ad? Why? I have to like get past all those objections. And then once I got the referrals, it was just done deals. I just had to say, here, give me your credit card and I'll do your ad for you and send it to you, just get it approved. So then I started realizing, let me call the sales reps who already have my clients. I'll be like, hey, you talk to whatever, at least like 3,000 people a month. I'm like, introduce me to your buddy that works next to you. Talk to him saying, here's what we do. Here's what we sell. We sell ads and you guys sell the space. We sell the design. Refer them to me. Then I'd do that. Then I had two clients, the end client I cold called, and then the sales rep who could refer me. So I just did some likability stuff. I had to get them to like me, tell them I'm fast, I'm the best. I do phone support. I differentiate against everybody else. And the funny part is me charging 250 is sometimes $800 a unit for just a basic graphic. I was outsourcing to the other vendor that they were actually referring. That vendor was charging $25. So while I'm charging this way higher fee, 5 and 10 times more than them, maybe even higher than that, I'm sending it to the guy too. So that realized that people don't just buy off price, they buy off the value. So my additional value is service support. You can call me. I'll write the copy for you. Whereas those guys were 10 days turnaround time. You give me the copy, you give me the images. And if you need revisions, you get unlimited, but it's going to take 3 to 5 days. So my negotiation to that vendor was, do my shit in 24 hours. I want higher priority than your clients. I want unlimited revisions, and I want my revisions also in 12 to 24 hours. And I'll give you all my business. So I was just reselling somebody else's stuff until I brought everything in-house. So that's the story that I did is 2 clients, one direct to consumer, direct to business, whatever your audience is. So you can get your direct sales and control your income as quickly as possible and manage your own pipeline. And then I parlayed it with partnerships in the sense of who can get me to the client, do the direct referrals, or even one level above that. Over time, Amir, you're on here. Yeah, I saw you on here. Amir said something about when we met in person last week with Adam and McKinnis and Brendan here, about that life insurance opportunity, is that I go bottom up sales, the bigger the company. Because I need to get enough buy-in from the salespeople, the sales managers, et cetera. And then I went top down. So once I proved myself with salespeople, they all knew me. They were using my product. They were referring me to their direct clients. Executive levels were now ready to hire me. So we cut a meeting with the Realtor.com people. And then we got in a room and then we became their exclusive vendor. So it made life a lot easier. Anytime they sold something, we would get the immediate work order saying, call this person. We're paying for them already. So we'll pay you. You just do the work. So anytime an email hit my inbox, which were 100 emails or more per day, every email we got, we were already being paid for. So that's where the partnership came in. So it became a little bit like a real business, if you will. It wasn't on the backbone of all just the fruits of the labor of the cold call led up to the big opportunities. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. But also the benefit that we had was we became stronger, like more witty, working on our feet, salespeople to handle any sort of like variance of objection or anything of that nature. So we would, anytime we had an objection, the person who received it would write it down. We'd role play, and that was it. And then we would just come up with ways. How do we prevent that from even coming up? How do we talk about it before they do? How do we anticipate and read the mind of the customer before they thought of it? So now we become even more of an authority because we know the industry so well. And that's why I think having like the niche is important, because you know the pains and the feelings that they're going through more than they do themselves. So that being said, you have that call. Okay, so I'm gonna tee up just a really raw, non-planned, non-scripted. Like Cody and I were on our way to Chipotle, in fact, where we had no plan at all. And I said, you know what, record me. I'm calling the fucking chamber. So we have a chamber of commerce email. So you're gonna see it's rough. It was just like, hey, I'm calling the chamber, record it. That's how quick we thought of it, and then just called it. So before the play-by-play is this: the guy who answers the phone is my information booth. Let me get as much information from him as possible. He's going to give me the right person. Once I know the right person, transfer me over that person. If that person's not available, then who's the next best person? And then I'm going to work my way up until I get there. Because it's local in proximity, and I called somebody near me, if need be, I will stop in there to get this deal done. So the only reason I'm going to get this deal done, it's not my target audience, but I'm still going to try to do it anyways, is so I can document the journey for you guys. That it's just as quick as I'm willing to make that phone call. I just have to be prepared for what I even do for a living. Think of my angles of what's the pain and what's the solution. If it's a known pain, they're going to agree with me. If it's unknown pain, I have to create the pain. Kind of like when you see those drug advertisements at night saying, do you breathe? Do you blink? Oh, well, you might have this condition, and then they sell you some pills or some shit, right? So sometimes I have to create the pain if they don't already know it, and create that contrast that they're losing something: time, energy, efficiency, hiring processes, and money. Once I find the pain, then I can re-angle it back into my demo and my presentation, and then further that pipeline. Because I anticipate this to be like, once I get to the right person with the right demo, he's gonna say, I already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna say, yes, I love it. How do we move it forward? And then that how do we move it forward will probably take 2-3 calls to put it into implementation. Once we implement it for the chamber, if they're my actual buyer, my next stage of my sales pipeline is, how do I sell it to your whole entire like members, to not only attract members, but maybe give them a discount so they actually get chamber member benefits and monetize their enrollment and their dues that they pay. So I want to kind of make me the most valuable carrot to their audience as humanly possible by just anticipating and being prepared. And once I'm in, I don't know how many members there are, but let's just say there's 100 and they grow by 10% every month or so. I could have a potential of 200 contact lists. And if I have a 20-30% close rate, one close, one endorsement can get me in the door for 30 people over the year. And then the fee would be whatever, setup fee plus $300 a month for the basic usage of SaaS. The upsell, cross-sell will be my marketing services, which will be Facebook, or better yet, I don't want to do your Facebook. I want to teach you Facebook. So pay us for a Facebook ads, whatever, 6-week boot camp, and off you go. Right. So that, like, I'm already pre-planning the future cast of like what's next. So I have enough to play with, so I can have a bigger lifetime value of my customer. Anybody, I'm going to pause there because I was like fast and a mouthful. Any questions there? I'm going to let hand raise go real quick, and then I'm just going to play a raw version of a cold call, and you guys will say like, hey, that was absolutely brilliant, or that was absolute trash. But then also at the same time, I furthered my process of what my goal is to get the contact information of the right person. Okay, let's see. Are there cold call scripts you recommend? We've done 100 calls to real estate agents and haven't booked a single appointment. Honestly, Donnie, it's really revolved around what the offer is. If I got back into real estate cold calling, I would honestly go back to my roots of selling them the basic graphics, get my foot in the door, and use my exact pitch I used for when they were advertising on realtor.com. I knew they spent money. I knew it was thousands of dollars, either a year, a month, depending on where the market was. If it was like Wichita, Kansas, that's a cheaper market. If it was Orange County, California, I know they were spending like 50 grand plus per year for that spot. So I can extract pain more with the more they spent. But if I was doing it over again, my first foot in the door offer would be the platform they use, Facebook. I would say, hey, saw you on Facebook. I had to give you a call. You have this great, amazing platform that has millions of people that could be your potential audience. I noticed that you didn't optimize it. We're the kings of Facebook funnels. If you want to learn more about it, I'm happy to send you some info. But the real reason I'm calling you is I would love to optimize your profile and show you how you could be potentially missing out on commission checks. You got 2 minutes for me? And then all I'm doing is selling them the Facebook funnel. I'll do your graphic. I'll write your bio. I'm going to fully optimize it with my proven process. We call it the perfect stranger method. Now you're going to be primed to be able to get everybody, your friends, your family, your strangers, all to be edified by exactly what you do. Every time every time you do a post, you're branded like I'm your buyer, I'm your seller. And then we have a unique funnel on how to really maximize the capabilities of the exposure you're getting. The opposite is also true. If we don't do anything about it, totally fine. It just probably will work the way it's been working or worse as people start to optimize their own funnels, right? Because there's nothing worse in the world than having a business that you know all the clients and then they go with somebody else. Whose fault would that be? Fucking yours, right? If my friends, if anybody I ever met that I actually like, did not know that I did marketing, shame on me. Absolutely shame on me. Just like the realtors, if you're not top of mind, if I don't see you posting, and it's not my job to memorize what you're up to in life or whatnot, but if I don't know what you do, and when you post a picture of your kid playing soccer and you're so proud, and I see your little icon graphic and it's branded with what you do, subliminally, I'm ready to know who you are. When I'm ready, you're the call. If you're not doing that, I don't remember. It's not my job to keep tabs on people's job titles, right? It's the seller who owns the business to do that. Yeah, daily branding, posts. Yep, there you go. Exactly. So I just try to get something very, very simple so I can open their eyes and ears and just say, hey, we have a unique way to do it. We call it the perfect stranger method. We get people who are complete strangers to know, like, and trust us in an instant and a visual so they know exactly what we do. So when we are talking to them, we eliminate the interview. Because if you're getting interviewed on your sales calls, like, tell me about yourself. What do you do? How long you done it? How many people do you have? All that stuff. You're being interrogated. You're not being hired. That's what our content is for. And everybody has the same amount of time in the day to do it. No matter how busy people are, whether you have 16 kids, 0 kids, or whatever's going on, if we are owning the business, it's our job to optimize and find that time to be a shoemaker with shoes, right? So it's like a marketer. Most marketers don't do marketing for themselves. They don't take care of the backyard. Right? They do marketing for their clients. They do cold outreach for themselves to get clients. But if we do our own marketing, which is free to do, it can create an attraction magnet for us too. Now, Cody, I'm going to have Cody play the call right now. I'm going to mute out. I think you might have to hit that little button where it says share audio. Okay, so right here, yeah, you can like as an ascension model based on what I said, yeah, you can do organic posts. The more you talk about organic posts and the value and how you have a unique method on how to get people more views or more exposure or more reach and turn their Facebook from a graveyard into a big, huge party where our clients hang, you can kind of position it that way. If you're talking about it all the time, you're going to carve your unique niche as the go-to person on getting social media content out into the ether so that their customers can be impacted, therefore increasing GCI. GCI is gross commission income for real estate agents, right? So that your initial foot in the door is the Facebook profile funnel. Your next micro upsell could be GHL social planner. So saying, hey, you can automate all your content all from Sundays, just kicking it right after church. Or if you hate hockey and your husband likes hockey, just kick up your shoes and enjoy the game with them. And you're in the background writing 20 posts that will be scheduled over 20 days. And guess what? You're the beneficiary of all that exposure and those opportunities of buyers. So anybody who bites and nibbles, depending on where you are, it's 20K in commissions, right? Each marginal deal is absolutely ultra important. Facebook fam or wherever you.
Valley Chamber of Commerce, this is Nate. How can I help you?
Who's the president these days over there?
The president director is Danielle Borgia.
Daniel, okay, is he available?
She is not currently.
Got it. Do you know his schedule by chance? I just want to get a meeting with him.
Her schedule is currently for the rest of the week, at least.
Oh, he's pretty busy.
Yes, very busy.
Got it. Okay, how does next week look?
Still quite busy. Since they're out of the office right now, could I ask what you'd like to meet with them about?
Yeah, I do partnerships with associations and chambers, and it's a software that we built out for members of the chamber, and I wanted to run it by him because I think that there's a lot of like revenue potential for the chamber with like new members and renewals and all that good stuff. And other chambers have really enjoyed it, so I just wanted to give him that opportunity too.
And you said it's a type of software?
Yeah, we're a software company. We're a software / marketing company.
So it's like a CRM
Sort of, yeah, you're on the right track.
type software?
Yeah, something like that. That's part of the deal. Yeah, it's good for like not only like member management and renewals and keeping people up to date like more frequently with more fun, and but also it's something that can trickle down to the members to show them how they can be like bringing in more leads and get like a better network within the chamber itself.
Gotcha. So what I could actually have you do is I could talk to you to transfer you to one of our member specialists who would be the person to talk to about something like this.
Yeah, let's do
Can
it.
you just hold for 1 moment?
Who am I being transferred to?
Jennifer Bradford, if she's in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Give me 1 moment, please hold.
Yeah, no problem. Easy peasy, baby. Just cold calling chamber for you guys. Jennifer Bradbury getting on the call. President's Daniel, that easy. Just whoever answers the phone, get the information from them. Have a good conversation, have fun with it. The downside is not making the call. The upside is if I can get my foot in the door and they buy from me, I have instant access to their whole portfolio of clients they worked hard for. So I'm getting a free database with their endorsement once I make this deal work. And now that I know I'm getting to Jennifer, I already know I'm going to get the deal. So it's pretty much done. They just don't know it yet. And hopefully while we're on hold, they can't hear it. Just kidding, guy. Behind the scenes, I love videos. Do you want to be my D-Rock forever?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, so she's not in the office right now, but she said I messaged her.
Okay.
And she said that I should just give you her email so she can
Yeah, let's
At this
do
point,
it.
you've probably
Yeah,
seen
I'll do that.
experienced
Okay,
other
can you
people's
just give me
AI
1 second? I'm just
sales
gonna text it to
or
myself real
AI
quick.
booking bots. On this funnel,
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for you.
whenever you're ready. All this.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate the time. And what was your name?
My name is Nate.
Nate. All right, I'm Rahul. Nice to meet you.
Gotcha. Good
Okay.
to meet you, Raoul.
Yep, good meeting you too. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. All right. So next step is I'll shoot her a vague email just to spark curiosity, and then now that I have her contact information, I'm gonna straight away call back. Probably, maybe either the afternoon, so I don't get Nate answering it again, or tomorrow. And if Nate answers, I'll crack a joke with him and just say, "Get me over to Jennifer," because I need to get it on the phone. Because I'm sure they get a lot of emails. That's why I have to be precise on how I email them. Because I'm assuming there's thousands of people, maybe you guys watching this video have emailed her, but and if you didn't get the deal, I am, so watch it happen. Okay, cool. So that was just a cold approach, obviously very unscripted, unprepared, but it was just chill, right? So like when I get, like if you are calling associations, BNIs, plumber associations, my my mentality and thought process is there is a receptionist and a hierarchy of those types of organizations where I get the information from the phone answerer, try to lead as much as call I can by just I was pretty boring on that call, right? I mean, you can see my tonality didn't really move much. I didn't have much charm or charisma whatsoever. And that was part intentional, unless I needed to kind of crack a joke or have some fun with the person or whatnot. But the gatekeeping was non-existent, so I just kind of went with it. But the opportunity is big, right? So if I can get in the door, sell them on some pains. If they don't buy, then I'm moving to my second phase of my preparation. My second, like a quarterback, like Patrick Mahomes or any quarterback. I don't want to compare us to him or anybody that like at such a high level. But the whole point is like as a quarterback's kind of doing their checkdowns. I'm like, I got my primary play. If that breaks up, I have to go to my second option, then my third, then my fourth. So I'm thinking of my audibles before I'd even picked up the phone. Where I would have pivoted if this guy was hardcore on me, then or didn't just wanted to dig a little bit deeper, then I would probably have to use him as the decision maker. I'd have to pivot the way I was doing things rather than using him as information. I'd have to tell him saying, "Hey, would it benefit you if I kind of went over this with you before we transfer to whoever's in charge of this particular partnership aspect, where I can show you how we make members a heck of a lot more money and more engaged, and they're more in tune to refer and re-enroll in chambers." So I got to show them, hey, this is the member benefits and how you guys can also make a heck of a lot more money. And that's the angle I would have just gone down that path had I not got the information I wanted already. No, you can use that as a word for word script if you want. I mean, but you got to rehearse it. It's just got to sound natural. So like when you are cold calling, the cool part is have the script either printed or on a second monitor, and then just go through it and just rehearse it as if you're talking to a normal human. We just don't want to sound like we're robots and like get rid of the fear factor because you're the only one in the room if you're cold calling around nobody. So who gives a shit? So just have some fun with it, and because it's got to become second nature. And the way I like to give extreme examples because that's how I receive them, and that's what helped me a lot. When I was a little bunny rabbit, scared to dial, and anybody who answered, I'd hang up on, and all that shit. I already went through those phases, like some of you guys may be doing. Almost like when you call the first girl or guy or something, you hang up because they answer. You're like, oh shit. Hopefully they don't have *67 or whatever that was back then for you older guys and girls. But anyways, like when you go to Starbucks, like or a new coffee shop or restaurant, you're presumably ordering from a stranger. You're having a stranger to stranger conversation. You don't freeze up when you're ordering from the menu, or you don't freeze up when it's your line at Starbucks. You just say, "Hey, I'd like a XYZ," and they'll say, "Cool, anything else?" And then two strangers making a transaction together. So same thing here. When I make an outbound call, I just try to look at it in that light of confidence and opportunity. It's if I can influence this person to try us out, how much money could they make? And if I do a bad job and they don't want to listen to me, I have to improve me so my pitch gets through. Because the only person that gets hurt is them more than you, right? Because if we can make them an extra $1,000, $5,000, $6,000 to keep the lights on, and make their lives a lot easier, and it starts to scale more and more. I mean, that's our obligation. And for you guys taking care of your families, that's your freedom. If you have a job, this is the way to get out of that 9 to 5. If you have a full-time entrepreneurship career, this is your opportunity to make as much money as quickly as possible, get some breathing room, and maybe hire people for a team. Ultimately, all roads lead to one thing in my mind, and you guys tell me what your why is. My why is freedom. I want to work when I want to work, from wherever I want to work, and make it a choice, not an obligation. That's my goal. And once I have that, then I want other people to do it for me. Once other people do it for me, then I want to be wealthy. I want to use all my money into investments with my company as being my number one source. And I'm not going to have 6, 7 companies that I'm a part of. I'll own one that I'm the primary face and show, like me and Cody are with this. And then any other shit we're going to invest in, we're going to be off the board director, like off the board, off the org chart type investors where we make a lot of money and don't do any work, because your core business is your cash baby. And that's the number one thing of focus is like, without this agency, I don't own any real estate. I don't own other people's companies. I don't invest in private companies whatsoever, but all my money comes from here. anything I pull out from here, I take my bank account to as low as I can survive to invest into other things, and that rises the wealth chain, the wealth chain over time. But it all started with this cold call thing, mastering the offer, getting so good, building this, never leaving when things got hard, I didn't leave. I went harder. So I didn't wish things were better. I made things better. That's a variation of like one of those quotes from one of the greats out there, the personal development greats, like Jim Rohn. So good question, Donnie. The dials, like I manually dialed with my fingers. We didn't have dialers or those auto dialer things, but our minimum was 100. So I used the minimum as the 100. It was actually $75 at Realtor.com, but we bumped it to 100 because we had to have 4 hours of phone time. And then when I went off on my own, there was a couple things that I would do differently than other people did. Is like I would judge my day based around the time zone I'm working. So if I woke up super early and I started my days at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm in California, I would start off on East Coast and start working my way all the way backwards to Hawaii. So I was already thinking, all right, I'm going to be in this chair. I'm not going to do a single thing until I feel good enough to go home. So I didn't leave. I committed I created my own pain and my own pleasure at the same time. So I couldn't eat until I closed the deal. That was my first penalty. And then if I closed the deal, but I wasn't happy that I only closed one, then I would make sure my next day's pipeline is so clear and set. So when I get in at 5 a.m. the next day, all I'm doing is dialing. I don't have to research. I don't have to hit refresh. I don't have to go to Google. It's already documented for my next day. So I prepare my day ahead. So all I can do is blaze through my follow-ups. I can blaze through my I called cold calling new leads. So that was I looked at everything as the opportunity. So when I had my list, I knew what they had. I knew my angle in the door. It was always the same pitch, same product, same everything. It just depended on the personality type that answered. Some were rough and rugged, meaning they had high ego, and the rest weren't. So I just had to deal with those two types of personalities. And then I realized a lot of people are competitive. So then I would use that against the egos. I didn't have to like match ego for ego or anything. They'd be like, "Who is this? This is Bob from New York. I'm the number one dude." I'm like, "Well, Stacy looks like number one. She's down the street. Do you know Stacy? I hate her." I'm like, "Well, let me tell you how we can beat her." And then I would just flip it back into the same pitch. Right. So whatever their competitive angle or nature or whatnot, that hot button, as we call it in sales, that makes them tick and move. That's what we just practiced and went for, because we just truly believed what we had was better than what they had and what other people could provide. So we believed in ourselves, we believed in our company, we believed in our product. Now we have the belief system checked off the list. Now we had to go out and do our thing.
Thank you so much for spending the time to watch that amazing training. Like I mentioned previously, my intention is for you not just to watch that training, but if you got something out of it, if you think this information is useful, I want you to continue that journey with us. And you can do that in a couple of ways. One, I want you to smash that subscribe button so that you get notified every single time we put another one of these out, which will be at minimum once to twice per week. The other thing I want you to do is go ahead and click that next video right there beside you so that you can dive in and get shit done. Hope to see you out there.